It's a book about the world of snakes.
Hey, that's interesting. Snakes can sense their prey by vibration.
Did you know that medieval legends about dragons and giant worms are actually based on snakes? You know, dragons, devils, sea monsters. They've always been associated with snakes.
Grace, get alive.
Gabriel is carrying a scale.
I'll take this hair gel. You never know when you'll need a touch-up.
I want you to take hold of your prayer clothes. Better yet, take hold of your radio, and let's do a miracle. But first, I want to talk about doing what's right. Those of you who are out there listening to these radio waves of comfort, you know what I'm talking about. Every day, this program reaches out into the darkness and pulls lost souls from the grasp of the devil himself. Oh, but now I don't have to tell you that the Lord's work does not come cheap, my friends. So I want you to get up right now. Take out an envelope, fill it with whatever you can, and send it today. We both know that's doing what's right. I ask you, my friends, have you done your share today? Or are you being carried by those dedicated souls who support this ministry with their generous gifts and offerings? Remember, my friends, faith that costs nothing does nothing. Simply send your gifts of faith to Reverend Bob, and your name will be blessed. Hallelujah! That's it for this week, friends. Enjoy the wonderful, wonderful music, and may God watch over you.
The Creole Grandams will hold their annual Gardenia Festival and Tea this coming Tuesday at the Sons of Burgundy Hall. Admission is free. Do you have men problems? Someone put a hex on you? Call Sister Cross.
Gabriel, shut that refrigerator, please.
Oh,
I can smell it from here.
Whimmer.
At Giant Discount Bookstore, we discount every title 50%. When you see our selection and prices, you'll never want to shop with those little guys again.
I want you to take hold of your prayer clothes. Better yet, take hold of your radio, and let's do a miracle. But first, I want to talk about doing what's right. Those of you who...
Dramatic, isn't it? Gabriel didn't eat for 3 weeks after splurging on that coat. He has a thing for black leather.
I've got some things I need to do.
Good luck.
Welcome, my friend. Hello. I am the proprietor, Dr. John. If you have any questions, I would be happy to assist.
Great. My name is Knight, and I'll probably take you up on that.
The Voodoo Shrine is filled with items that both fascinate Gabriel and also make his skin crawl.
This coffin is so small.
Gabriel can't see a way to use that.
Will that look sacrilegious?
A flyer advertising Magenta Moonbeam, a local voodooian. Her parlor is on the corner of Orleans and Dauphine.
They lend a certain psychotic ambiance, no? Wonder who that poor bastard was. This coffin is so small.
A leather whip hangs from a peg on the wall.
Oh, hurt me.
That must be Marie Lavo. Gabriel doesn't want anything to do with that knife.
What does this do?
Turn that thing off.
Oh, sorry.
We have air conditioning, you see.
Yeah, I see. I wish Molly Getty were mine forever. Really, I mean it.
What was that?
Huh? Nothing.
An authentic-looking pole marks the center of the room. Authentic what? Gabriel isn't sure. Gabriel doesn't recognize the museum's flags.
Could I ask you a few questions?
That is why I am here.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Ah, you have perhaps noticed the museum snake, Mr. Knight? They are beautiful creatures. Do you not agree? And the tourists seem to associate them with voodoo.
Is this snake yours? Do you use it in your practice of voodoo?
I admire the spirit of the snake, Mr. Knight. But snakes like the museums can be quite dangerous to handle.
You didn't really answer my question.
I think I did, Mr. Knight.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical voodoo, or the voodoo currently practiced in the city.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The killings in the newspaper. I know they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
What makes you think the voodoo murders aren't being done by local practitioners?
Voodoo is a popular boogeyman, Mr. Knight, especially in New Orleans. Anyone can pretend to use it, just as anyone can pretend to be a black belt in karate. And for the same reason, to intimidate. I know voodoo in this city, Mr. Knight, and believe me, it is not about killing. Even the police have stated that the killings have nothing to do with local voodoo.
So you know nothing about the voodoo murders case?
I neither know nor care to know, Mr. Knight. My only possible interest is in how it might affect the public's attitude towards the museum. So far, it has not been an issue. No one has even had the bad taste to bring it up. Until you, that is.
What do you think of New Orleans?
It is the only city in the United States, as far as I am concerned.
What is it about New Orleans that you so admire?
It has a real culture of its own, Mr. Knight. Amid the horrid blandness that is Americana, New Orleans alone has a voice.
Spoken like a true New Orleanian. Tell me about yourself.
Me?
Yes, if you don't mind.
What is it you wish to learn?
Just tell me anything.
I am originally from the West Indies myself, you know.
Really? What brought you to New Orleans?
I was drawn here for personal reasons.
Just tell me anything.
I am a vegetarian.
Really? I can't imagine living without meat.
That must be the hunter in you, Mr. Knight.
Just tell me anything.
I am not an easy person to get to know. I am a very private man.
Isn't that unusual for someone in the museum business?
Not at all. My displays speak for me.
Just tell me anything.
Not everyone can come see the museum, so I occasionally do public speaking on the subject of historical voodoo.
Anything coming up that I might attend?
No. But then you have me all to yourself right now, do you not?
What are your own religious beliefs?
My beliefs are too personal and too complex to discuss with a layman, Mr. Knight.
What kind of background in voodoo do you have?
Let us just say I cut my teeth on it, Mr. Knight. It is in my blood.
Do you do anything besides run the museum?
No, the museum does not make me a rich man. But my material needs are simple. I prefer to focus on my one true interest in life.
Why did you open a voodoo museum?
The subject has fascinated me all my life, and I wanted to help preserve the cultural heritage it represents.
Actually, I can't think of a thing.
Then let us discuss something else.
Tell me about historical voodoo.
Very well. I will start at the beginning, Mr. Knight, and will go on from there at your prompting.
Sounds good.
As you may know, voodoo is a grassroots religion, formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism. In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade. But African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, with the French and Spanish-ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, the New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for voodoo to breed here natively. The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importings of slaves from that region.
So how did voodoo come to New Orleans?
After the Louisiana Purchase, American legislators relaxed regulations. Slaves were permitted to gather. The Americans also removed the ban on West Indies slaves. Around the same time, a slave revolt occurred in Santo Domingo, what is now Haiti. Between the lifting of the ban and the Haitian Revolt, West Indies slaves began pouring into New Orleans. Some of them were free people of color, freed or escaped slaves. Some came with their white owners who were fleeing from the revolt.
And what happened when the West Indies slaves got here?
They brought voodoo with them. The native slaves were more than enthusiastic about embracing it. It gave them power, Mr. Knight, if only in the form of a communal bond. Among the first meeting places were the Bayou St. John and the shore of Lake Pontchartrain. The early voodoos were heavy snake worshippers, worshipping the one they called the Great Zombie.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
By 1817, the voodoo activities were beginning to cause fear among the white slave owners. An ordinance was passed to forbid slave gatherings except in designated public areas at designated times. The time was Sunday afternoons, and the place, Congo Square. The slaves and free people of color gathered to dance simulations of their voodoo dances, right in sight of Creole society. Of course, they also continued to meet in private for the real thing.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
There were a variety of kings and queens at first, voodoo priests and priestesses. But from about 1830, a single power emerged. This was a voodoo queen named Marie Lavo. Marie Laveau ruled voodoo in New Orleans for many years.
Are you sure you can't tell me anything about voodoo?
I've given you as much detail as I can, Mr. Knight. Look around the museum if you desire more information.
Tell me about current voodoo.
Many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or gree-gree. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in the religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I personally am more interested in the history of voodoo. Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo, but it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
Tell me about Marie Laveau.
There were actually two Marie Laveaux, mother and daughter. Most people thought they were the same woman. Her continued youth added to the mystique. The original, the mother, was also known as Widow Paris. It was she that began the empire.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
The Laveau tomb, where one or both of the Maries are believed to be buried, is in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. It is a popular shrine for practitioners and tourists alike. I myself take tours through the cemetery on a regular basis.
Really? Do you have any running this week?
No, but the cemetery is open to the general public as well.
Tell me about yourself.
What more?
Actually,
Then
tell me.
with The Widow Paris was a hairdresser for rich Creole ladies. She also paid household servants to spy for her. Between the two, she knew everything about everyone who mattered in New Orleans. She was not above using her information to appear psychic, to intimidate, or even to blackmail.
You sound as though you admire her.
For a black woman in the mid-1800s to gain power is an incredible thing, Mr. Knight. However she achieved it.
What exactly is hoodoo?
Hoodoo refers to magic folk traditions of the South. Hoodoo is a bastard of voodoo. Many of the gree-gree are similar, but hoodoo does not have the religious aspects of voodoo.
So how's the museum business?
Those who truly seek to understand are few, Mr. Knight. But even one can be an audience.
Sounds about like my shop. So where do you pick up all this stuff?
Oh, here and there. We accept donations of any pertinent items.
Do you ever get any wackos in here?
You mean, besides yourself?
Yeah, besides me.
I do not care to make those kinds of judgments, Mr. Knight. All are welcome here.
You're a big guy, aren't you? You work out, play sports?
I do not play basketball, if that is what you want to know.
Who, me? No, you just look like such a natural athlete.
I do find ways of keeping fit, Mr. Knight. After all, our bodies are temples.
You sound like Grace. I should get the two of you together.
Is Grace your wife?
No, she just acts like it. So what do you think of our summer weather? Have you ever seen it so overcast or so muggy?
It is unpleasant. The heavens are not pleased these days.
Nice outfit.
I prefer simple cotton to dead flesh, Mr. Knight.
I'll have to remember that. This is quite a place you have here.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I have dedicated myself to the preservation of this unique culture. It is gratifying to see others reap the fruits I have sown.
Do these marks look familiar?
They look like the scribbling of a child to me.
Okay, thanks.
A beaded gourd is on display.
Please, do not touch the drums. They are authentic.
Authentic what?
Drums. Do not touch them.
Flickering candles lend an appropriately spooky atmosphere to the museum.
Reminds me of a book critic for the New York Times. Looks like Jack Nicholson. Looks like Jack Nicholson.
Perhaps Gabriel should learn more about the scale before showing it to anyone.
I'll be going.
Come back again.
Hello?
Huh?
Bonjour, Monsieur Walker.
Bienvenue, Madame Casano. Comment ça va? How you be feeling today?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Walker. I'm certain someone's buried a sleep knot bag somewhere near my steps. I haven't slept a wink, not in weeks.
Now, don't that beat all? Gonna need some easy night candles then, huh?
Do you think that would help? I do hope you're right. I said 3 rosaries this morning for Our Lady's intervention.
Rosary good, sure enough, but you buying them candles too, boy, you gonna whip any no-sleep gree-gree, I tell you for sure.
Very well, Mr. Walker. Put them on my account and send them around to my house. Oh, and there's another thing. I didn't catch her at it, but I know. Mrs. Lefebvre put stomachache powder in my tea at the last meeting of the Creole Grand Dame. I've been in misery.
Now, you put 9 pinheads up in the little box. Add a pinch of graveyard dust. Put it up under her front post step. That'll turn the trick back on Miss Lefebvre, and she be the one with the bellyache. I got the pins of dust right here if you want them.
If the Blessed Virgin will grant me her protection, I'll be safe from these practitioners of evil.
Oui, madame. Though, don't hurt to be proactive neither now, does it?
Naturellement, monsieur. Merci beaucoup.
Mais non, madame. It's nothing. Au revoir.
Au revoir, Monsieur Walker.
The Dixieland drugstore has a rather terrifying way of dealing with shoplifters. To get what's in the case, Gabriel would need money. To get what's in the case, Gabriel would need money. What would Gabriel do with that sign? The sign says, Special St. John's Eve Lagnia. Free bottle of Lover Come Back to Me oil, or Master Gambling oil with every purchase over $50.
Lock me up. My French is lousy, but everyone in New Orleans knows what that means. A little something extra.
The sign said,
Lock me up. My French is lousy, but
the proprietor doesn't look especially friendly. His business probably doesn't depend on walk-ins.
I'll pass. I ate Italian last night.
To get what's in the case, Gabriel would need money. On this shelf are super concentrated fixing oils and a rib cage? Gabriel really doesn't want to ask. The poster advertises a voodoo play from last fall. It's a mannequin wearing a crocodile mask.
It must be the crocodile thing, but even I'm not interested in undressing that mannequin.
There's no room for him in the bookstore. To get the mask, Gabriel would have to buy it. The mask appears to be made from a real crocodile head. The Dixieland drugstore is crammed from top to bottom with strange merchandise, some or all of which seem to be related to the practice of voodoo. Dried herbs hang from the ceiling.
Those are gree-gree. They full of magic. No guarantee, though, you know?
No, thanks. I don't even want to think about what might be in them. Do you recognize this pattern?
Don't look familiar at all, monsieur.
Would you mind taking a look at this photograph?
Gabriel.
Gabriel? What does that mean?
Nothing, man. I didn't say nothing like that. You heard me wrong, man.
Hi there. Is this your store?
This the Dixieland drugstore. And I own it. Me. Name's Walker. Willie Walker.
Do you know anything about snakes?
What kind of snakes?
The kind they use in voodoo?
Pythons, boas. So I've heard.
Really? Do you have one?
Are you crazy? What would I want with a python?
Can you tell me what you know about voodoo?
This is a novelty shop, monsieur.
Do you think I'm stupid? This is a voodoo shop. Look at all this stuff.
These is novelties, curiosities. If people want to think they magic, it's not my concern, you know?
Are you telling me that you own a voodoo shop, but you know nothing about voodoo practices?
Ça n'est pas ça faire blanc.
What does that mean?
It means you should mind your own business, monsieur.
Look, I'm researching voodoo for a book.
I don't have your answers, me. You want to buy something, monsieur?
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Gabriel.
What did you say?
Nothing. Them killings have nothing to do with my shop, monsieur.
What do you think of New Orleans?
I live here all my life, me.
What do you think of New Orleans?
If you're not from around here, monsieur, you should sign up for some tours.
What did you mean when you said Gabriel?
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard you say it.
You heard wrong, monsieur. I said no such thing.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's the biggest night of the year in voodoo.
What goes on exactly?
I couldn't say.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
The only one left is Willie Jr. over there, the old crocodile. He's sort of a mascot now, him.
What do you know about Marie Lavo?
Marie? She's somebody from the old days. One of them old folk tales. The tourists eat it up, no?
What else do you know about Marie Laveau?
I don't know much, monsieur. Someone at the Voodoo Museum can tell you all about her.
What else do you know about Marie Laveau?
I don't know much, monsieur. Someone at the Voodoo Museum can...
That customer of yours, the little old lady.
Customer?
The woman I saw in here, Madame Casino, you called her.
I don't talk about my customers to men who come in off the street.
Tell me about yourself.
My name's Willie Walker. I own the place.
How did you get into this kind of business?
Now, why should I discuss my business with you, man?
About Willie Jr. Would you be willing to let him go?
Maybe. For $100.
100? You gotta be kidding.
Me and Willie Jr. are very close now. I couldn't part with him for less.
Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price is $120.
What? You said you'd sell it for 100 before.
You misheard, monsieur. The price was always 120.
Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price is $120.
What? You said you'd sell it for 100 before. So...
Voodoo? No, man. This a curio shop. The things you see here are from local folklore. None of it real, I tell you for sure.
What about all these magic oils and powders you're selling? Aren't they a part of voodoo?
Read the label, man. We make no claims. Sold as curio only. It mean what it say, no? These are novelties, not voodoo.
So, do you get many too?
We, all the time. They want to buy a bottle of money-drawn oil or wang a bag to take home with them.
How's business?
About like always.
I'm a businessman too. I own a bookstore here in the quarter.
I don't really care, me. I got a store to run.
Have you always lived in New Orleans?
My papa and his papa and his papa, all the way back to the days of Marie Laveau, we've been living here.
So, does any of this stuff actually work?
You crazy, man? These are just curios, novelties for the tourists.
Nice weather we're having.
Don't bother me. Can't you see I'm busy? St. John Eve coming, I got to be ready.
A sign on the front door of Magenta's home reads, Attuning with the Spirit Realm, back on June 22nd.
Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
What can you tell me about snakes?
What does this look like? A zoo? Never mind, don't answer that. No, I don't know nothing about no snakes.
What do you know about St. John's Eve?
A bunch of crazies out there on St. John's Eve, that's what. We're busy all night.
Really? What kind of crazies?
Oh, your usual howl at the mooners, I guess. They don't look no weirder than them that come in during Mardi Gras. Never can tell, though.
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
I'm here to see...
He's in his office.
Do you know what caprice encore means?
No. Sounds foreign or something.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
I see plenty of masks during Mardi Gras. Not many animals, though. Of course, there's plenty of animals underneath.
What do you know about Marie Laveau?
Marie who? Is she the one that hangs out on Conti and Nash?
No. Never mind. Hey, hey, hey.
Knight, come on in.
There's no reason to go through the desk at the moment.